From early times, Mike Tyson became a legend for his ferocity in the ring. For many years, he not only remained the opponent to beat, but just surviving the scheduled rounds in a match against him, regardless of the judge's decision, was already a source of pride for his rivals. But over the years, new fighters emerge and grow with such strength that they carry in their fists the power to retire the legends that had long enjoyed glory. When Mike Tyson crossed paths with Lennox Lewis, he would experience a punishment similar to what he had already imposed on so many. But now, he would not be the executioner. Welcome. In today's video, we will tell you about the fight that drained the warrior spirit from Tyson's body, needing to be picked up by the referee and taken to his corner after a defeat that would mark the history of boxing. The tragic encounter would take place on June 8th of the year 2002, and all those who wanted to witness the fight had to make sure to reserve their seat at the Pyramid in Memphis, Tennessee, USA. With the arrival of a new millennium, new promises also came to the discipline. And Lewis had done a phenomenal job so far, leading him to claim world titles that he would now have to defend. This fight would mean Lewis's first defense of the WBC, IBF, and the ring heavyweight titles, so everyone was eager to see if he could maintain them once he stepped into the ring against the man who still held the record as the youngest heavyweight champion in history. The fight was officially announced on January 22nd of the same year, during a press conference in New York. The first to appear was Tyson, who took the stage and made sure to look in the direction where Lewis was supposed to come out. When Lewis took the stage, Tyson quickly walked toward him. The scene heated up even more when a Lennox bodyguard stepped between the fighters and pushed Mike back. As a result, the Great Iron Mike quickly assumed a fighting stance and threw a left punch at the bodyguard, fortunately missing. While Lewis raised his fists and threw a punch, dozens of boxing officials and members from both camps climbed onto the stage. So many shoves occurred that both fighters ended up on the floor, causing a cut on Tyson's forehead. But Lewis would not escape unharmed, as it would later be revealed that Mike, in a somewhat comical move, bit his leg. Jose Suleiman, the president of the WBC, in the midst of the chaos, became unconscious after hitting his head on a table. This would, a bit further in time, result in a lawsuit filed on August 1st of the year 2002 for $56 million against Lewis and Tyson. Originally, the fight had been planned to take place in Las Vegas on April 6th, but the Nevada State Athletic Commission voted 4-1 to deny Tyson a license on January 29th, as did several other states. In the end, Memphis secured the venue for the match under the promise of a site fee of $12.5 million, guaranteeing both fighters the hefty sum of $17.5 million. The judges for the fight would be Alfred Bakwana, Anik Hongtonkum, and Bob Logist, while Eddie Cotton would referee the match to ensure it was as clean as possible. Tyson entered the ring as a challenger, as he had done so many times before. His record remained impressive, with 49 victories, 43 of them by knockout, and only 3 defeats. Lewis, on the other hand, had a record of 39 victories, 30 of them by knockout, 2 defeats, and 1 draw. From the sound of the opening bell, Tyson showed a strong offensive, pushing Lewis back against the ropes. However, Lennox would not be intimidated and stood firm against a beast he knew he could tame.
Tyson! Attacking Lewis, and Lewis!
By the end of the first round, Tyson must have realized that his strategy had only worked in that initial advance. After that, he was unable to move the fight from the center of the ring to corner Lewis, as he had done with so many of his victims before, and pressure him until he broke. As soon as he could, Tyson jumped into the second round with the same aggressiveness. Occasionally, he seemed to control the pace of the fight when Lewis used his good foot coordination to move around the ring, trying to dodge his attacks.
That's not what you want to see.
Every now and then, Cotton asked Lennox not to hold Tyson, fueling the illusion among the audience that the Great Iron Mike was figuring out how to defeat such a strong contender. During the third round, with Lennox taking more chances to attack Tyson, it became apparent how Mike was heading towards his body to gain some time. The pace of the fight began to clarify, and with both fighters entering an offensive mode, significant exchanges of blows seemed to have begun. Back in the corner, the wounds on Tyson's face were already foreshadowing the tragic end of this bout. The fourth round began, and Tyson was in trouble. Lewis not only attacked him fervently, but also pushed him when he tried to throw himself at his body to ensure that the punishment he was beginning to impose would not be interrupted. Lennox began landing more punches on Tyson's face and body, and less than 15 seconds from the end of the round, the Great Iron Mike fell backward onto the canvas after a strong right that surprised him as much as the rest of those present.
Hurt and slow Tyson is, he is a dangerous puncher.
Lewis leads on Tyson. Connect with a right hand.
For the fifth round, Lewis's confidence had increased. He managed to knock Tyson down and was ready to do it again. Mike, on the other hand, decided to change his fighting style to a solid defense, intending not to leave room for any mistakes that could cause more damage to his ego or face.
Kinds of calls from Eddie Cotton. A lot of people are concerned.
During the break, the difference in the state of both fighters was abysmal. Lewis was the executioner who seemed calmly waiting for his cue to enter the scene, while Tyson was condemned to a punishment that had already taken its toll, evident in his wounds. During the sixth round, Lewis continued landing punches on Tyson's body, who occasionally threw himself at his opponent to gain some time.
Better do something. Lewis, another strong overhead right.
It was evident that the world's youngest heavyweight champion was exhausted, but the great Mike Tyson would not give up without giving his last breath. Lewis dominated the seventh episode, making Tyson's worn-out body absorb almost all the attacks he launched. After witnessing the brutal beating, everyone began to wonder how much longer the Great Iron Mike would be able to win against a rival who had managed to surpass him by far.
Getting the big time. It's jabs, he pushed him away. He just doesn't have the power now. Clearly the aggressor inside the ring.
They entered the eighth round, and Tyson's spirit was already broken. His body stood upright by pure instinct, and Lewis seemed to enjoy every second in the ring against the shell of someone who was once invincible.
Lewis unloading. Lennox Lewis.
Midway through the round, Lewis threw a left hook that made Tyson kneel, and the referee put some distance between the boxers. It was the second knockdown, and the safety count began. Tyson assured he could continue with the fight, only to be knocked down by a strong right from Lewis less than a minute later.
Can't take that from him. Big right hand from Lewis, and Tyson goes down with a third.
With a cut above his left eyelid, bleeding nose, and many other wounds on his face, the Great Iron Mike was defeated during the eighth round, lying on the canvas. After getting up, it seemed like Mike's warrior soul had left his body. Unable to stand on his own, he needed help from the referee and his entire team to be moved to his corner. This fight does not define the great boxer that Mike Tyson is, but it does show that the years of glory do not last forever, and if you don't want to tarnish your record, it's better to know when to retire. If you've made it this far, we thank you. And we remind you that the best way to support our content is by leaving a like on the video and subscribing by activating the notification bell. We would like to hear your opinion on this match. We read your comments.